Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has been out for a while, and the praises were high from most gaming journalists, but the praise from players appears to be even higher. It will most definitely be involved in the discussion for Game of the Year at the year's end, and rightly so. Now, during my time playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I played other games as well, most notably Avowed. I did a video on that here. But my honest opinion was that the game was a letdown, and was so far from Kingdom Come Deliverance's level that it's essentially night and day. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has NPCs with day and night cycles who you can rob, kill, talk to, and interact with in many ways. They go to work, then to the tavern, then they go to bed, they react to the player depending on their actions and relationship. It's really in depth. Avowed's NPCs do not move, and you can't do anything to them. At all. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2's world is so huge and it's free to explore from the get-go, with no limitations. Avowed's world is level-gated and incredibly linear. Now, I'm not just here to bash Avowed, but in my video on that game, I explained how when I went onto social media, I noticed so many articles coming out from major publishers stating that Avowed was better than Skyrim and one of the greatest games ever made. I disagree, and after doing research, it turns out it's all paid and planned. Yesterday I saw the same with Assassin's Creed Shadows, with a YouTuber describing how Shadows' world was more detailed than any other game ever. At the top of the video it stated, sponsored. So all these AAA game studios are in a proper panic, and I feel that they're trying to get ahead of any criticism before it inevitably arrives. The reason? Games like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Baldurs Gate 3, Red Dead Redemption 2 and Witcher 3 have raised the expectations of gamers, and so far, these other studios can't keep up. But at the end of the day, no matter how many times a game is marketed as a masterpiece, the player will eventually play it themselves and form their own opinion. Now, I've done a lot of videos on Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and I'm going to do another, because the game honestly deserves it. In this video, I will explain how this game, like Baldurs Gate 3 before it, and Elden Ring before that, raised the bar and increased expectations of gaming fans worldwide. Quick side note, if you are new here and you have a huge passion for video games, please consider subscribing. It honestly would mean the world. Anyway, back to it. So let's start with the obvious. The world of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is stunning. Thanks to the CryEngine, the game's visuals are some of the best I've ever seen. The forests, the rivers, towns and cities all look incredibly lifelike. But it's not just the graphics, it's the detail and the design of the world itself. The map is massive, split into two distinct regions, and one of them includes a sprawling, fully realised city that feels alive. I'm talking Witcher 3 Novigrad levels of quality here. And the best part? Every single building can be entered and explored. That's rare enough in open world games, but what really sets Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 apart is the uniqueness of every location. Here's the problem with a lot of modern open world games. They copy and paste everything. In games like Assassin's Creed Valhalla or Odyssey, towns and cities all look the same because they reuse the same assets. Same buildings, same paths, same carts, same layout. It feels rushed and lifeless. Even Skyrim falls into this trap, recycling dungeon and town designs over and over. But Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, every single inch of this map is handcrafted. No two buildings are the same, inside or out. Every forest path, every stream, every rock formation looks unique, like something you'd see in real life. There's no empty, copy-pasted filler here, just an insane level of attention to detail. And when you compare that to the repetitive, procedurally generated worlds of games like Starfield, well, the difference is night and day. This is the most detailed, handcrafted open world I've ever seen. Period. And I don't want to sound like a complete nutcase, but if you spend time just walking through the forests in this game, just look at the floor and look around you. Every little millimeter has something unique. A log here, a rock there, a tree at a certain angle. Like everything is so different. There's no just blank grass. And the same in the city. The other day I spent time in the city looking around and every building was different. No two buildings were the same. That is absolutely mind-blowing when you think about how big the game is. Now, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is definitely in with a shot at being nominated for Game of the Year, and there is so many great games coming out recently, it's hard to keep up, or afford them all. Luckily, today's video sponsor can help with that. Today's video is sponsored by Instant Gaming, and they save you money on video games. Due to the fact that they get their keys straight from the source, they're able to offer a better price. They have over 700,000 reviews on Trustpilot and have a 4.7 out of 5-star rating, so they do exactly what they say. Now, just to give you an example, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is usually around £60, but here you can get it for just £38.62, or the new Monster Hunter game. It's normally £70, but here you can get it for just £42.36. The upcoming Assassin's Creed Shadows is priced at £70, but here you can play it for just £41.85. You buy a few games through Instant Gaming and in the long term, it saves you a lot. That way you can have extra money to get other games. And it's super easy to use. You pick your game, pick your platform, make your purchase and get your code. Enter your code in on your preferred system and voila. There it is, ready to go. So if you want to save some money on video games, whilst also supporting the channel, click on the first link down in the description. And thank you again for Instant Gaming for sponsoring this video. Anyway, back to it. Now, a beautiful world is one thing, but it's the people in it that make it feel real, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 absolutely nails this. NPCs in this game don't just stand around repeating the same animations, they live actual lives. They work, eat, sleep, and react to the world around them, even when you're not there. This is the first game since Red Dead Redemption 2 to hit this level of realism. Compare that to most modern AAA games. In Avowed, half the NPCs don't ever move. You can't interact with them, you can't attack them, or rob them. They're basically just window dressing. Same with Dragon Age the Veilguard, lifeless static characters that never leave their designated spots. But in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, the world feels alive because its people feel alive. You're not the center of the universe. Life goes on with or without you, and that's incredibly immersive. I would argue that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2's NPC lifestyles is some of the highest quality we've ever seen within video game history. One of the most important parts of an open world game is how much you can do in it, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 delivers here as well. You could be a blacksmith, an alchemist, a hunter. You can pickpocket, lockpick, fight, trade, and talk your way through the world. You can enter every building, open every chest, and explore every landmark that you can see in the distance. And this game actually rewards you for living in its world, even if you're not following the main story. In so many other open world games, the world is just a backdrop. If you're not doing side quests, there's nothing really to interact with. But in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, you could spend hours just existing, and it never feels boring. We also need to talk about the role-playing and the reputation systems. This is where Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 really flexes its RPG muscles. You're not just customizing your character, you're shaping how the world sees you. Every town and settlement has a different opinion of you based on your actions. Help out the locals and guards will greet you warmly. Steal too much and they'll follow you suspiciously. Get branded as a criminal and people will avoid you entirely. The game's leveling system is just as detailed. You improve skills like strength, lockpicking, alchemy, and horsemanship by actually using them. The more you do something, the better you get, and your improvement feels earned. High stats even open up new dialogue options and make related tasks easier, giving you real weight to how you build your character. Now compare this to other AAA games like Avowed or Dragon Age the Veilguard, where progression is reduced to a generic XP bar and a handful of skills that you can unlock. In Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, no matter what you do, you're always getting better at something, and that makes every moment feel more meaningful. So, based on the new leveling system that they've introduced, and the new reputation, and the freedom in the world, this game is pushing new boundaries that other games aren't even competing with. This is another way that this game is pushing the industry forward. There's also complex and multi-layered quests. So Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 raises the bar when it comes to quest design. With over 120 side quests, each one feels detailed and unique. They have multiple steps, branching paths, and different outcomes based on your decisions. You're never forced to approach a quest in one specific way. You can talk your way out of situations. You can find hidden shortcuts or skip entire steps if you're clever. And the game doesn't just tell you this, it lets you discover it naturally. Just to give you an example, I was doing a quest and I ended up finding a body that had been buried. So I had to go and speak to a certain person. So I passed through the town and there was a random NPC going past. I figured I'll just speak to them. When I started speaking, an extra dialogue option popped up and I could tell him about the body. He all of a sudden started saying how innocent he was and that he was busy that night and that I could go and ask the innkeeper if I needed proof. And it opened up an extra step in the quest. Little things like this create great replay value and show how much depth there is to a quest. Or you can speak to people who found Mutt by accident. They were doing another quest and accidentally came across Mutt. Now the Mutt quest, you should usually have to do a lot of steps to it, but if you do happen to just stumble across where he is, the game will let you skip it all. This is what I mean by great detailed quest design. And if you compare this to the rigid linear quests in games like Assassin's Creed or Dragon Age, where you're funneled down a single path, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2's approach feels far more organic and rewarding. So it's also pushing the design of quests ahead in the gaming industry. Let's talk about combat, because Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 does this better than almost any open world game out there. Most AAA games rely on mindless hack and slash mechanics. Basically, you hit enemies until their health bar disappears. You have to dodge when a red marker pops up, block when there's a yellow marker. There's no real strategy, just repetition. But Kingdom Come Deliverance 2's combat takes a more Dark Souls approach. It's precise, tactical, and punishing if you're not careful or get greedy. You have to study your opponent's moves, conserve stamina, and wait for the right moment to strike. At first, you'll struggle. One of the reasons why the Dark Souls series and Elden Ring are so successful is because of the combat being so tactical. It's about being patient, waiting, studying your enemy and watching their moveset, playing it more like a chess match rather than just hacking everybody down. So Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 copies this same sort of formula, and what ends up happening is every single fight you get into ends up feeling so unique. It's like a game of wits, a game of chess. You watch each other's moves, you wait for the right time, and if you're greedy and decide you're just going to go crazy with your sword, you'll run out of stamina and there'll be an opening. It also copies the Dark Souls formula in that no enemy can be underestimated. If you decide, oh, this is just an easy bandit, I'm just going to try and knock him down, one quick misstep and you could be taken down, just like in real life. Now, another thing that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 does really well is what I call the payoff. See, when you start this game, at first you'll struggle. Your sword swings are very slow, your bow will shake uncontrollably, and your lockpicks break constantly. But as you train and level up, you feel yourself getting better. The game rewards you for investing time into these skills, and as a result, each of these skills becomes easier. So at first, it takes you forever to swing a sword and it uses up a lot of stamina. Get that trained up to level 20, you'll swing faster than any enemy and you'll take them down quickly without even breaking a sweat. That's the magic of the game. The game rewards patience and practice, and when you finally start winning fights with ease, that payoff feels so well earned. It's the reason why Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and Dark Souls games are so successful, because of that feeling of going through the struggle, working hard to build up your stats, and then overcoming the obstacle and feeling the payoff when you become strong. Compare this to the artificial difficulty of level-gated games like Assassin's Creed or Avowed, where enemies are only hard because they have more health. So if you're a level 3 and you go to an area with level 5 enemies, you can't win. It's not a fair fight. The game wants you to go and do side activities to get to level 5 in order to get there, but it lacks any real substance or that payoff. More like a grind as opposed to a journey of overcoming obstacles. In Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, your struggles turn into triumphs, and that's far more satisfying. The game is also actually educational. The game's realism required extensive research, from studying medieval Bohemian history to consulting historians, blacksmiths, and even linguists to ensure authenticity within the game's world. In this game, you are rewarded for learning. As you learn new things, it gets added to your codex. So for example, when I learned about how churches were built whilst talking to an archaeologist in the game, Henry's scholarship level increased. But my knowledge also increased and the game added it to my codex. So I was learning and the game was teaching me as well. Henry learned and got smarter and I learned and got smarter. People from all over the world are learning about Bohemian history through this game. It's a better teacher than most classes and very historically accurate. Even when you speak to people, sometimes the language is in German or Polish or other languages. As a result, the player is actually learning new languages. Eventually you'll start learning new words in other languages and the country's history. Assassin's Creed games did this in pieces with Odyssey, Origins and Valhalla, but it was over the top in many places with a lot of fiction too. In this game it is so grounded in realism that you'll actually learn real lessons. After I played this game, I started explaining about Wenceslas and Sigismund to people I knew just because I'd learned real history from a video game. This is another way that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has upped the standards. And then there's a story of how this game even came to exist. The game was the brainchild of Daniel Vavra, a Czech game designer known for his work on the Mafia series. He wanted to create a realistic RPG set in Europe in medieval times, which was a stark contrast to the heavy fantasy RPGs that dominated the market. Now, despite the uniqueness of the concept, he did struggle to find funding. Publishers were skeptical about the project's marketability, especially since it lacked mythical creatures. After failing to secure a publisher, Vavra and his team at Warhorse Studios turned to crowdfunding. They launched a Kickstarter campaign, asking for just £300,000 to prove that there was demand for the game. That campaign was a huge success, raising £1.1 million from over 35,000 backers. This early funding was critical in securing additional private investment and proving the concept's viability. After releasing in 2018, Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 sold over 8 million copies, but the game should never have existed. Major publishers said no. They greenlit the games I referred to earlier, like Dragon Age the Veilguard, easy structured games, but they refused to publish games like Kingdom Come Deliverance. Through sheer determination and fan support, this game somehow managed to exist and now is a huge success. Even when everything seemed against Warhorse Studios, they still managed to get the game together. This shows, again, a huge gap between fan desires and publishers' decision making. The success of Kingdom Come Deliverance on Kickstarter highlighted the growing importance of crowdfunding as a way for niche, ambitious projects to bypass traditional publishers. It paved the way for other indie developers as well. After Kingdom Come Deliverance's success, they began to work on the sequel, and 7 years later, it arrived with everything I've just explained. The first game was successful, but it didn't challenge the AAA studios outright because it had its limitations. This new entry is a whole other story, as they took the first game and just added to it and improved it in so many ways. This game is now currently the greatest game released in 2025 and a genuine contender for Game of the Year, and it sold 2 million copies in less than 2 weeks. I did a video on this here. But in summary, for years, standards have been slowly dropping in quality from AAA studios. Not in terms of budget or the size of the game, but in the stuff that matters. Morrowind had everything Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 had in terms of role-playing and player freedom. Skyrim's map was almost as detailed as Kingdom Come Deliverance's. Starfield had no role-playing, no player freedom, and its maps were all AI generated and looked bland. So in this case, with Bethesda, their games have actually been moving backwards and regressing in terms of things that matter. Starfield has 1,000 planets, Skyrim only has 1. But Skyrim was a much better game and offered much more. Assassin's Creed Black Flag released in 2013 and it had so much for the player to do. Valhalla released 7 years later and it had a much larger map, but again it had less of what mattered. Dragon Age The Origins had decision making and depth. Dragon Age The Veilguard was bland and boring. I could do this all day, but my point is that most gaming series have regressed. They've improved graphically, they have bigger maps, they're more flashy, have more microtransactions, but they lack in character and depth. This is why so many people make videos on gaming is getting worse. The games look better, but they're poorer. They feel artificial, flavorless, and lack any character. More cosmetics to buy, but less role-playing options. More AI-generated quests, but less stories. Bigger worlds, but less to see. And when players don't like the game, they're just called toxic. Expectations are too high. So as players, we have to suffer through this and often get gaslighted by online marketing, fake blogs, fake videos, and paid articles telling us how good these games are. It sucks. But then, whilst this happens, every now and then we get a gem. A Witcher free, an Elden Ring, a Baldurs Gate free, and then Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. These games that seem to ignore this negative pattern that we've seen from other studios. They seem to be on their own path, and they keep pushing gaming forward. Witcher 3 pushed on from Skyrim and improved on it in so many ways, including its quests, decision making, and writing. Then Elden Ring picked up from there and introduced us to one of the greatest open worlds of all time. Baldurs Gate 3 picked up and grew on Witcher 3, going even more in depth with the role playing, and now today we have Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which takes it on another level. These games single-handedly push the industry forward and raise expectations. So when Avowed comes out and the media world says it's a masterpiece, and we say, well, why are the NPCs not moving? Does that seem acceptable? Why is the combat so poor? Why is the map so small? And then when they try to gaslight us into believing this is the newest greatest RPG of 2025, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 comes in and knocks it out the way. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a nightmare for AAA gaming studios because it's outshined them in every aspect. Play Starfield, Avowed, or Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and then play Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. This game outshines all of those games in every aspect that I've covered today. They did it with less money, less time, less backing, and zero paid articles. They just focused on making a great game, and now these studios are sweating. For years they've said fan expectations are too high, but it's not really the case. We've just grown tired of the stuff thrown at us. We don't want a shallow experience, an artificial one. We want substance, depth, and character. And Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has all of that and more. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has continued the trend set by other games like Witcher 3, Baldur's Gate 3 and Elden Ring, in that it's taken ideas and moved them forward. It's innovated and improved in many ways and raised the standards for all gaming studios. The game is not just a great game, it is a revolutionary game, one that will change the course of history forever. The standards have gone up now, and games released after it will be compared to it. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 set the new standards in its open world, player freedom, NPC interactions, and much more. It will go down as one of the greats in history, and I cannot wait to see which game will pick it up from here. Maybe it'll be Assassin's Creed Shadows. I'm just kidding. But anyways, that's it for this one, but what do you guys think? Do you think Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is 2025's Game of the Year? Do you agree with what I'm saying, or quite the opposite? And do you believe that Ubisoft's Shadows will outclass it completely? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please give it the thumbs up, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I'm Av Gaming, where we do video game analysis, identifying what makes great games great, and what could make good games great as well. Thanks for watching. Av out.